Hello.
Talk to me.
Score prediction week 1.
Talk to me. What we looking for?
Score predictions.
Score predictions week 1? I think it'd be like 24-21. Dallas. 24-21 Dallas.
Oh shit. Micah just put us out there. 24-21.
Eagles is fine. They gonna get these. Like they talented as hell. They gonna get these. Like I'm not saying that we gonna get these, but we gonna limit that shit though. We coming.
24. Oh shit.
But guess what? Our offense 5-2 now. We're gonna get ours. We're gonna get ours.
Oh shit.
And I'm sorry. That Quintamino Bay don't last over here, man. That shit dead.
Oh crap.
That's what they call Quinyon Mitchell.
What?
You guys are right here.
They said Guantanamo Bay. That's where they said you.
Quintana. Oh my God.
Y'all ever seen Prison Break?
Holy moly.
Ever seen Prison Break?
My captain can't.
They said, oh shit, now they drag. I think Eagles fans in here.
I don't care.
Talking about you going to Guantanamo Bay.
You just shit on them.
Not on any island.
I'm going to show you guys the mouth of an NFL mascot.
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Oh my God, let's get open for business here. Let's wake up the football gods. It is cray-cray. You know, for those out there who hate Micah Parsons' podcast, I think it's safe to say that the Cowboys don't have a problem with their podcast. I'm going to say it is safe to say the Cowboys love Micah Parsons having a podcast. Because with the Dallas Cowboys, it's all access. Because the Dallas Cowboys are now promoting Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, and so on. Micah Parsons now has a YouTube channel. CeeDee Lamb now has a YouTube channel. And the Dallas Cowboys had an event that they promoted on all of their platforms with CeeDee, Micah, crew, everybody. Stephen Jones, Schottenheimer, everybody. This is what you get with the Dallas Cowboys. So those who don't like Micah Parsons' podcast, then you need to find another team because it ain't going nowhere. It's not going to go anywhere. The Cowboys are supporting it as we speak right now. And so here's where it gets to be a little bit crazy is the Dallas Cowboys. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about this because yesterday, you know, it was started at 1 o'clock Central. I think it went until 5 o'clock. So like 4 hours worth of content. They're on a golf course. They've got the teammates and stuff there. They're all doing, you know, all kinds of stuff together. And in my mind, it was corny. You know, we have, of course, Micah Parsons, you know, putting us on blast, letting the Eagles know we have no fear. You got him there with CeeDee Lamb. You've got Stephen Jones yucking it up with Micah Parsons and literally saying, I know where your locker is, which we found out for sure is right next to Dak Prescott's locker. But I sit here and I look at this event, and I hope that we don't need too many shoddy shots, okay? I hope we won't need many shoddy shots. And here's what a shoddy shot is.
Hey,
Like
Shotty,
the schedule.
they said, what's in the cup?
It's a shoddy.
Yo!
Tito's,
Little T?
water, 3 lemons.
Okay.
Shoddy.
Yeah, it's a shoddy.
Shoddy
It's a shoddy.
I like it.
Hey, I'm
You hydrate while you have a good time.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
nice little
hydrate and
cooler.
heat up
We got nice
because it's
little
hot.
cooler.
It's about 100 degrees out
Dude,
here.
it's so hot. That's why I'm not playing. That's why you guys aren't playing.
Listen,
Hey,
like to
Shotty,
the schedule.
they
A
said, what's in the
shoddy.
cup?
You hydrate while you have fun. I kind of like that. You hydrate while you have fun. Now, let's be clear here. The Cowboys, we have one tough mother humping schedule. And I'm going to say that this season is going to depend on how good Brian Schottenheimer is with this team. Brian Schottenheimer, let's make no mistake about it, rookie head coach, but he has been coaching since 1997. And having a Hall of Fame coach for a father. He was surprised being the selection for my team owner to take over the title for a star franchise, and he's not backing down from the pressure that comes with the job. There's plenty of Schottenheimers in the business, he said. Brian said towards the end of the 24 seasons about getting into coaching. When Marty said to his son, if he was sure about taking the challenges of being a coach, Brian replied, that's all I know. It's a great profession. It's a tough profession. The people are what make it special. He's going to have to really, it's going to be tough. But, most people are looking at this and here it is. We're playing 10 playoff teams. 10 playoff teams. We are underdogs in 11 games. Vegas has us favored only in 6 games. We play on short weeks Eagles, Kansas City, Detroit, and Washington. We literally play Eagles, Kansas City, and Detroit. The Eagles are on a short week. Because we play on Monday night. We then play Thursday night at home. At least the Eagles are at home. Then we play on Thursday, Thanksgiving, at home against Kansas City. And then we have a Thursday game on the road against the Detroit Lions. We have a historic 4 Thursday night games. The NFL did not do us any favors in that. I want to take a look at the schedule itself here and go through it with you guys. Although the schedule is daunting, in my mind, it kind of favors our team because the easier games, or the games that you should win or should probably win, will be early. Because here's the thing that you have to understand. When you have rookies, typically a rookie doesn't come out the box like Micah Parsons. It'll take him a half a season to really assimilate to what the team wants to do. If you look at, say, Michael Gallup, his rookie year, the first half of the season, he was meh. Second half, he ended up doing really, really well. And you can look at most rookies, and that's the case. They have to get into the groove, get into the use of having that whole NFL schedule and Tuesdays off, Wednesday back to practice, Thursday practice, Friday practice, Saturday travel day, Sunday game, and then rinse and repeat. So having the tougher games later in the season will help your younger guys. Also, Overshone and Diggs could be back somewhere in the middle of the season to help give your roster a bump. That is fresh bodies, hopefully completely recovered from their knee injuries, that help you on the stretch run. With a new coach all new coaches, to have some games that should be ones that you can win can help you build some confidence and get you able to basically get practice in, hopefully, for those stretch runs. Now, you've got the Eagles first out the bat. I look at that and I say, if you're honest with yourself, nobody thinks you have a chance against the Eagles on the road. Nobody does. If you can go through that game and not get embarrassed, if you can at least play well, if you can at least get some work in and kind of say, okay, we're not a bad team, that is a major, major boost. If by some chance that the Cowboys, as you see right now, the Cowboys are pointing to this game. Micah Parsons just said, we're winning this game. Our offense is much better. You had Dak Prescott, basically saying, we've played well against the Eagles. We got no fear against them. You got the new guy, Tyler Booker, calling out Jalen Carter. So the Cowboys, they're getting some confidence. And they know week 1, That's the people that I'm going to be playing against. That's the team I'm striving to be better than. That's the team that will be our measuring stick to start the season. And anything can happen because it's the division game. And for the Cowboys, as much as the Eagles want to say, we are the greatest team of all times, the team that's given the Eagles the most problems is the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Now, maybe what we need is to actually play the Eagles in the playoffs, and maybe we'd have more playoff success. But you can best believe that the Cowboys and Brian Schottenheimer are all working towards that. Now, what I will say is, at first I was kind of like, here we go. The Cowboys and Micah and CD, that they're all, just media here out yucking it up and everything else. But I'm going to actually say something a little bit different here, because what they seem to be doing is they are beginning to bond together. You got the coach out there, with his shotty, looking relaxed and comfortable. He's got players that showed up for his opening press conference and everything else. He's building a relationship with all of these guys, every single one of them. You've got the players there, offense and defense, working together. The fact that you got CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Smith, Osa, and Micah grouped together for this whole thing. It's not offense is over here, defense is over here, we don't give a rat's ass. They are building that team completely together. Micah Parsons' locker is right next to Dak's. You got CD that's over there. George Pickens is going to be there. Your team leaders are there together to bring a team together. I like this. And I think that this becomes something more than we're just, independent contractor looking for our own stats and looking for our big fat payday. Also, too, seeing Stephen Jones out there with the players doing this whole event together and joking around with Micah Parsons lets me know that Micah Parsons ain't going nowhere, and neither is the podcast. Let's go on some more. So you go through, you got the Eagles, and nobody's expecting you to win it. Nobody is. If you do somehow win it, and I'm not saying that we do, that is huge. But even if you lose that game, you should have a good shot going to New York and beating the Giants. The Bears, work in progress as well. You've got a good chance against the Bears. You've got Green Bay, which, of course, is always tough. Okay, Green Bay, for whatever reason, seems to own us. We'll be playing them at home. But if you can get those, start out 2-1, you feel pretty good about playing Green Bay. You really do. So hopefully you start out no worse than 4-4. You got the Jets. You should be able to beat the Jets, okay, on the road. You like having that one on the road? Great. So now you're 3-2. You got Carolina. You can start trying to hopefully stack up some wins. The Panthers are a work in progress. They are truly bottom feeders. So now you're 4-2. And then you've got the Commanders. And the Commanders, I know everybody's all of a sudden, swinging on the Commanders and everything else and thinking that they're great. But there's always teams that make the playoffs one year and don't the next year. And with the Commanders and the Cowboys in the division game, you got to look at this and say, at worst case, we should split. At worst case, we should split. And maybe the Commanders do get us. That is, of course, at AT&T. And you hope to go ahead and get that win. But we'll see. You want to at least win that one at home. You got the Denver Broncos, week 8, late October. It's not really, really cold, but you've got Mile High. And, I look at it and say, you're going to win one of those two, Denver or Washington. You got the Cardinals at home. Kyler Murray is 9-0 at AT&T Stadium throughout his high school, college, and NFL career. You got to get that one. You've got to get that one. And then you play the Raiders, a team that, like you, new coach, Pete Carroll, but they do have Geno Smith. They should be a better team. Hopefully you can find a way to win that one. And here's where the shit hits the fan, because you're playing the Raiders on Monday night, I believe it is. And then you're playing the Eagles. Yeah, you're playing Monday night against the Raiders. Short week. You're then playing at least at home against the Eagles. You know, you're giving the Eagles an extra day compared to us. No favors there. And then you've got Kansas City on Thanksgiving. Short week. But at least you're at home for both of those games. You don't have to travel. The other teams do, so that kind of gives you a little bit of a oomph. Kansas City won't have a lot of time to prepare. You're going to play on Sunday. Monday was basically recovery day and meetings. Tuesday is really your only practice. Wednesday, you're traveling. Thursday, you're playing. The Cowboys at least are at home. They'll play Sunday against the Eagles, where you're going to be battered and bruised. You recover Monday. You got meetings on Tuesday and practice. You can have a walkthrough practice on Wednesday, and you got Kansas City, and you're not traveling. And then we play the following Thursday against the Lions. This is ridiculous how many Thursday night games we have. And then you get a break, and you play the Minnesota Vikings. So you kind of have the mini bye week after going through the gauntlet of those 3 games. I think you can beat Minnesota. I do. I really do. You got the Chargers. That'll be tough. But you know what? You got a chance in that one. Week 17 at Washington on Christmas, another short week. That one will probably be a lot tougher. And then you finish up with the Giants. I think the Cowboys can go 10-7, and I think that gets them to the playoffs. Maybe they squeak out another one, and they get to 11 wins. But by all means, when you look at this, here's the thing that you don't know. For all we know, what happened to the San Francisco 49ers could happen to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Super Bowl hangover. You got Kelsey, who's dropped like 20-some pounds and talking about this is his last year. You know, that Super Bowl loss to the Eagles could be devastating, that, you know, they've been at such a high level for so long that they come back down to earth. Washington could be like Daniel Jones and the Giants of a couple years ago that, you know, made the playoffs, won a playoff game and things like that, played really, really well. And then all of a sudden now they've got the big boy schedule, which they do, and they come back down to earth. You just don't know what you don't know. And so looking at it and saying you got 10 playoff teams for last year, well, half of them might not be playoff teams this year. You just don't know what you don't know. But what's going to be clear is the softer part of our schedule is early. And I think that's the time where we must get out the gate well, start the season with some victories, and start feeling better about ourselves. And hopefully, by the time the schedule starts getting hard, that we can sneak a win here and there. If we can start out the first 10 games going 7-3, you got it made. But you're going to have to start off that well. Let's hear about what NFL Live thinks about it. I'm sorry, get up.
It's not. Cowboys have a Week 10 bye, which is nice, but then after that, they play a Monday night game. Then they have a short week game against Philly, an even shorter week game against the Chiefs. They got a short week game on Christmas at Washington. The travel schedule and the rest schedule for the Cowboys in the second half of their season is extremely challenging, regardless of opponents. And by the way, those are some pretty good-looking opponents.
They have 4 Thursday night games or Thursday games this season, which is the first time any team has ever had that. When you see these schedules come out and you see it backloaded like that, and we take into account they bring in George Pickens and all that, what does it mean for the Cowboys?
I mean, it means the Cowboys need to start this season playing extremely well. They need to start at a high level. They need to start by winning football games. There will be no moral victories for Shoddy and this team early on in the season. When you truly look at this roster and the way they've built themselves offensively, this team can be extremely explosive, extremely competitive. They need to show up some things on the defensive side of the football. But if they don't start early and if they're not winning early, we know how the cycle of what the voices outside of this building will say and the pressure that can be on this team.
Let me give you their first 4 games. They open, we all had seen that already. They open on that Thursday night at Philadelphia, the defending champions, and they're home to the Giants, then at Chicago, and then they get Green Bay What will the Cowboys be after 4 games?
I'm gonna say 2-2. I'm gonna say 2-2. Which, listen,
that'd be pretty good.
That'd be pretty good. I think the biggest thing for the Dallas Cowboys, listen, when Dak Prescott plays a full season, they're pretty much banked for 9 wins.
Exactly.
Minimum. Okay. I think for them, the number one thing I said for the Dallas Cowboys, their offensive line needs to come together. They had no running game last year, and I think Dak Prescott operates best when they have a really good running game to go along with what they have on the outside. That they need to show up on the defense, the rush defense. But like RC said, they got to get out the gates quick because that back half, boy, it could be troublesome.
The trade they made for George Pickens really opened up my eyes. That was the aggressive move, and they didn't do it in free agency. They did it a different way.
When was the last time the Dallas Cowboys ever made an aggressive move like that? That's what we've been talking about with them for years. It's like, where's the move?
It sort of had to be laid up on a silver platter, and it was, with George Pickens being moved from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But it also finally showed that this team has a sense of urgency in trying to win and trying to do something different. But it doesn't matter if this team is 500, like Graziano said, after the bye week, it's going to be extremely difficult to win some of those games, not having rest, playing against good football teams, and that travel schedule, you have to have some momentum headed into that.
So the things that we were looking for yesterday, which teams got sort of favorable and unfavorable? That brings us to the Lions. If I were to say Detroit's 2-year streak of winning that division is in serious.
So here's an interesting take for you guys, though. The Cowboys, the Lions, and Kansas City are all going to be playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas. The NFL recognizes with the Cowboys, you're better off having them relevant and playing. And this is where I think if I'm a conspiracy theorist, I'm going to say the Cowboys have been put on blast, and their NFL is basically telling them, we need you guys to be good. We need to see you guys competitive and playing well because we all eat when you are. And I have to say, talking with Philly 500, he's excited because the Cowboys are actually making moves and figuring we'll be at least competition for him. And he knows that the rivalry that's beginning to really take hold between the two of us, it's butter. It's butter. But the Cowboys, they can't rest and say, we're good enough. They got more work that they must do. Already good people, as always, I appreciate you all, and you know that we got to get out of here.
Can't stand it anymore. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please, let me handle this.
I've got to get out.
Calm down now. Get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're one on the phone. Everything's going to be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.